This essence of self-deception, one of the most difficult realities for anyone to face is admitting that they are losing. Whether you're losing in your personal life, in your growth, in your relationships on a spiritual journey, the truth that everybody denies is you cannot begin to win until you come to terms with the fact that you've been losing, you've never been winning, you've never been making the progress that you've been knowing you can get. The acknowledgement that becomes the first step forward in this decision for meaningful change. Proverbs 28:13 tells us, whoever conceals their sins does not prosper, but the one who confesses and renounces them finds mercy. And this is because the longer you hide from a reality and you think you're fooling yourself and you're fooling God and fooling everybody else, you'll end up in stagnation because the life you are parading around isn't real. And self-deception is one of the greatest obstacles to growth. A man who refuses to admit that he is wrong is anchored to his failures. In James 1:23 to 24, we see the futility of hearing the truth but failing to apply it. This is in comparison to a man who looks at his face in a mirror and later forgets what he looks like. Denial will keep you from confronting the truth. And without any confrontation of the fact that you know you're lying, you know that you are supposed to implement all these different aspects and all these different principles in your life, your failure to do that will always result in a lack of transformation. Because true change begins with humility. If you don't believe you're wrong or in need of any improvement whatsoever, you'll never take any steps necessary for that transformation. Pride keeps many people trapped in their current condition, convinced that acknowledging their mistakes would be a sign of weakness. But admitting that you're wrong becomes that foundation of growth that you actually need. Within Proverbs 16, verse 18, we are warned that pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Until you have recognized that you've fallen short, you live in this bubble of false security, believing that you are in the right, you are believing you're in the perfect space when in fact you're stuck. And when you accept that just because you're losing, it doesn't mean that you're hopeless. You are ready to take responsibility. You're ready to take ownership of the life God has given you. And when you take that necessary action, you can actually start changing the direction that you've been going on, whether you've been going in the wrong direction or you haven't been moving fast enough. A person can't grow if they always believe they've reached their peak. This trap that you fall into is believing that you're at the epitome of everything, that there's nothing left for you to learn and there's nothing left for you to achieve, or if you have to achieve anything, it means absolutely nothing. And when you think you've reached your highest potential, you close yourself off to new knowledge, new experiences, and personal evolution. And this mindset will always cause the decay, the degradation of self, the degradation of potential. You leave everything on the table because you believe you're there, you're him. And in Philippians 3:12 to 13, we are given a mindset of growth. Paul writes, not that I have already obtained all this or have already arrived at my goal, but I press on to take hold of that for which Christ Jesus took hold of me. Growth, especially this journey of pursuing Christ, it is a continuous process. And thinking you've reached this peak, how many times have you thought that you're above a sin, that you've finally beaten it, that you have gone way beyond it even affecting you? How many times? I know I've experienced it, but how many times have you done that, right? And you find yourself falling right back into this. You've went how many days with fasting, how many days with praying, how many days celibate, abstinent, away from all of these worldly desires, and you just end up falling back into it. The turning point comes when you accept the reality that there's still more work to be done. There's still more that you need to do. Not in a way that you never celebrate any progress, but you understand that You only win, right? You only officially win this journey when you're no longer here, you know. And it doesn't mean that you've been defeated, but you're accepting that there will always be a new chapter of personal growth and change. And there'll always be things waiting to make you feel discomfort, things that are waiting to hit you with truth you never understood. And you're only going to win once you've made it to the other side. That everything you're doing here, it's not in vain. No, it's not in vain, but it's in preparation for the things waiting for you on the other side. You know, this is not just a matter of pride, but of progress. And you need to humble yourself and admit you're not where you should be. Then you can actually refocus and begin on this self improvement, on this Christ improvement. Your humility with yourself and honesty will bring freedom. You are not chained to the illusion of success or perfection. You become wiser, you are stronger, you know better. You can guide yourself out of things that you know that, hey, if I do this wrong thing, it will lead me down this wrong path. God is trying to position you in a way, and Satan is trying to get you out of that position, you know. Because the winning won't come from your denial. Once you learn that you're taking a loss, you know, they always say it takes two L's to make a W.